Alright guys, so this video is going to talk about squaring a binomial, a multivariate. So, I'm talking to, I guess I've been unintentionally chosen a lot of questions with the variate concept. But just to review, a multivariate is going to be talking about variables that have multiple variables in there. So, here in this question, you have v and you have x. So, this is really just like the video of the univariate that I showed you guys, just with two letters. So hopefully we don't get too confused. It's really the same process as what we did before. It's just a little different considering there's different letters, but that's okay. So let's get started with this and it'll make a little sense. So let's not forget about FOIL. Okay, where you have first, outside, inside. Wow, I can't write today. First, outside, inside, last. I'm just going to leave that there and we'll get back to it. So I have first, outside, inside, last. So when I look at this, I have v plus 8x squared. So essentially that's saying I'm writing v plus 8x twice, and I'm going to multiply it in that. So I'm going to show this a little differently than the last video. I'm going to erase this foil. Looks like I'm trying to, I don't know, write a ransom letter. Anyway, so we're just going to start with FOIL. So the f is first, right? So I'm going to try and do this in another color-coded way. So the f is your first, which is v times v, which is v squared. Okay, so I'm going to highlight this in yellow. That's your first. Okay, and then I'm going to say your outsides. O for the outside. So you're going to go, I'm going to do red, v times 8x. So that's v times, what am I doing, y'all? V times 8x, which, if you remember, is just 8 times x times v. Okay? Nothing big, nothing crazy. So I'm going to highlight that in red for y'all there. Now, inside, I'm going to go look and I'm going to say, okay, well, I have that, and I'm going to do that in green. Inside, I'm going to do these next ones on the top. Are the two that are on the inside of the expression. So they're right in the middle next to each other. So that is 8x times v, which, again, 8xv. If you write it as 8vx, that's fine. Just know that the order doesn't matter. These two things are the same because there is the 8, the x, and the v, and this 8, the x, and the v, even if it's not in the same order. So I know someone's going to be like, well, it's not the same. It's the same. Don't worry about it. Anyway, moving forward. I did that in green, so I'm going to highlight that in green for y'all. There we go. And then their last one is L, which stands for last. I didn't use blue, so here we go. Blue. 8x times 8x. So 8x. I'm going to get it together one of these days, guys. 8x times 8x, which is 64x squared. And highlighted in blue. Okay, so here's just a quick side note. The other one I did for the univariate, if this is a little bit more like, thank God the colors don't overlap, feel free to use this example for the univariate question for your notes, or just like the concept is the same, the order is the same, it's just explained a little differently. Anyway, so moving on. So I am now going to put all of my things together. So You don't necessarily have to write it in this way. Like I said, there's a proper way to write that, and that is to go x squared, x, and then whatever digit you have, whatever number you have. Don't worry about it. So anyway, I'm just going to write this in a way that's technical. You don't have to write it in that order. I don't think it's going to take off, and if it does and you do it on your quiz, I'm not going to mark it wrong, as long as the digits are right. So anyway, so I'm going to start with 64x squared, okay, plus v squared. Okay, so I'm just going to check these off as I go. Plus 8xv plus 8xv. Okay, now, I'm going to use the same colors as I did in this one, but just know that this is this part to the left is going to be how to actually distribute terms within a parentheses using FOIL, and the colors on this one on the right are going to be how to combine those terms. So I'm going to say combining terms. So the colors on these two sides of the page have nothing to do with each other. They're just convenient because they're already chosen. All right, anyway. So this, what is my writing? Looks horrible today. Anyway, so I'm just going to go into it. So I'm going to start with what I have on the left, right? So I have 64x squared, right? So I don't have anything else that's x squared. That's v squared and then xv and then xv. So I have nothing else that's x squared. So I'm going to write this down as 64x squared. Okay? There's nothing else I combine it with, so I don't need to worry about it. This one is v squared. So I'm going to look, is there another set of v squareds anywhere? And I know that one's not the same. This one's not it. And those other ones. So I know that's, he's all by himself over there. So I'm going to put plus v squared. And then for my last ones, I have 8xv and 8xv. Okay, so these are the only ones that have a second set of the same mix of variables that you can combine. So I have 8 plus 8, that's 16xv. Okay, so just as a reminder, so anyone's not confused, you can't combine terms that are not alike. So x squared can't be combined with v squared because they're not the same. But xv and xv can be because they are the same. So that's like saying I have apples over here, oranges, and then like strawberries. Like you can't combine them for it to make sense. So these little doodads down here, these variables in the expression, they can only be combined with the ones that are the same as them. When they're being added or subtracted. If they're being multiplied or divided, if they're being multiplied, you just squish them together and call them all one thing. But that's not what we're getting into. Anyway, so this is your answer. I know someone's like, Ms. Evans, stop talking. We got the answer. So this is your answer, okay? If you didn't get the last explanation of FOIL, hopefully this one was a little bit clearer. I felt like it was. So if you were confused by the last one, but this one made sense, it's the same thing as the univariate question. Anyway, so hopefully this was helpful. If you need another explanation or want to do another example with me in class, or just like want to check in to make sure you're doing this right, please let me know.